Welcome to another episode of Fireside Yarns with what would normally be your three hosts, but Reese's taking a dive tonight, so you've got Dave and Vino. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Look, Reese's temporarily out of service, but he will be back next week. We've got him down here. We're going to keep his spirit here with us. Don't want to go split screen. But he couldn't be here, but he sent in his homework, so we'll still be including him in the show. And yeah, how about last week? That was a big episode. Reese's first episode as a main host, and it's now our most successful.
It scared him a bit too.
Very interesting.
Just having to do a bit of research and get into it. But I think he enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it. We get a kick out of doing those sorts of episodes. So yeah, I thought it was a good one, mate. The analytics and everything showing for that's been good. Good response from it too. So once again, we can't do it without you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notifications button. We love the support. So what have you been up to this week, man? Anyway, what's been happening down there in Canberra?
I've got me Pfizer. I've got me shot. Pfizer Manelli. Michelle Pfizer. Got that. Feel good, but I got the first one. It's the second Pfizer smashes you, and the first AstraZeneca.
I'll tell you tomorrow. So I had my second Pfizer today. So
yeah. So this should be the fucking an overhand right. Yeah,
man. Yeah, if I drop on the table during this episode, that's why.
We'll just put another tile up there, temporarily out of service. Oh, don't worry, Firesiders, I got you. Davey's going to get you through this.
It'll turn into a Conor McGregor conversation again.
We will. Part 2 and 3. If these guys can't make it, Conor McGregor never pulled out of a fight. I'm just saying that. Go on.
Anyway,
interesting fact.
Our topic tonight isn't Conor McGregor, much to Dave's dismay. We've gone down another
topic.
What was that? Sorry, man.
A less important topic, but a topic nonetheless.
Yeah, in some cases. So tonight we've gone down a path of movies, or to be specific, our 5 nostalgic shows from our childhood.
TV shows. Yeah.
TV shows. So, suppose any show that we watched as kids or growing up that we loved or we remember, and I suppose we went down different avenues for picking these, didn't we? What avenue did you go down? How did you pick your 5?
Well, it's hard. It's really hard because, particularly with 5. So I have a heap of runners up here that we can just run through at the end. So maybe it didn't make it into our top 5, but these will be in other people's top 5. So for me,
well, they're not a top 5, really, are they? It's just the 5 that we've had to pick. Yeah.
Right now in my life, when I look back, what are the 5 things that pop up the most, maybe, and that still resonate with me a little bit, maybe, or that I recognised back then resonated with me? Because there's different eras, isn't there? There's between the ages of 1 and 3, then there's the ages of 4 and 6, and then 6 and 8, and then 9 and 10.
Then up to different phases. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, righto.
We start with Reese first.
Yeah, right. Why not? Let's give Reese the first kick. So I suppose Reese's number 1.
So this is from 1984, and it is the Transformers.
Oh.
4 seasons. Animated Transformers, obviously huge, spawned. Forget just the toys, which is in itself probably $1 billion industry, but the movies, they are still getting made today. Huge box office.
Well, there's a lot of those old shows getting made into live action movies, or even the idea's been floated, isn't it? About bringing them back and feeding them to the next generation. So that's cool. Yeah, I suppose that would have been right around Reese's age bracket too.
Well, even in our but back in his day, he's not here to defend himself. He's not. But here's the thing: they weren't big. I wasn't a big Transformers kid. I was on. I knew the whatever it is, robots in disguise and all that. Like I'd seen it there, but it wasn't my thing. I like the toys, I like the figures, I like playing with them things. And the movies weren't my thing when they came out after. But I know a lot of people that are obsessed with Transformers. You know, like obsessed with it. Even cars you see now still have the badges on them, and
well, even with cosplay and that, you've seen the videos of kids with the cardboard boxes and stuff like that.
It's pretty cool, and they transform.
Awesome. Yeah. I wish I had that as a kid. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go clockwise, man. What do you got? Number one.
This obviously is one of my favourite. This is I'll just say it. From 1992, Batman the Animated Series.
Oh.
This is one of the best TV shows, cartoons ever. It spawned so many things. It set the mood. It was so dark because it took influence from the movies that just came before it, which obviously was the darker take on Batman, the Tim Burton movies, Batman and Batman Returns. And what a cast. You bring in Kevin Conroy as Batman, which a lot of people think is the best, really solidifies that Batman tone. Mark Hamill as the Joker. Again, some people think, what a dude, you know? Yeah.
Well, I think, like, when people talk about the cartoon version of the Joker, instantly I associate Mark Hamill with it for that reason.
Yep.
Even though there has been some fantastic Jokers over the years. Heath Ledger.
Excellent. Revolutionary Joker.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson, the first one. Like, I remember seeing him as a kid play the Joker and thinking, holy shit, like, yeah, that was a different level. And then, to associate Mark Hamill, like Luke Skywalker, with the Joker.
Well, that brought him back, didn't it?
Sorry?
That brought him back.
Yeah.
Kind of, because people say he's Luke Skywalker and he's the Joker.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
That's two pretty big characters to be associated with.
That's right, and how to be the ultimate good. You know, from being the new hope to the crown prince of crime. Like, and he was funny. He was like the cadence he brought it to it. We made it his own. Very good. And again, that whole aura around this show, like Danny Elfman did the music. It was the first appearance of Harley Quinn. She's one of those comic book characters, we call her, in a comic book movie, but really she originated in the animated series.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, like, and I think that's one of the hot properties now, DC, and it came from this show.
You look at the Suicide Squad and all that at the moment, she's, as far as female characters, as of late, she's been, pretty popular. So, I didn't know that. I would have assumed she was from the comic books, but...
Yeah, she debuted in a fantastic episode called Mad Love. And again, it's kind of like, even with Heart of Voice, which is a fantastic Mr. Freeze, like
tonight's forecast is for Freeze. Arnie, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Cool off. But I guess but before and after, he wasn't really treated. He was treated as a bit of a joke, but he was taken very serious in Heart of Voice. Obviously, there's a lot of humanity and depth and morals behind why he was doing what he was doing, and a lot of the characters have them. They had all the villains you love, a great Two-Face story, Penguin, Riddler, all of them. It even won Emmys. It won Emmys.
Yeah,
Great show.
Awesome.
That's my number one. What about you, Vinna? What is your number one?
Right, so mine's originated as a comic book as well. It was a darker comic book. And what drove this, and this was pretty common around this era, was toy sales. So the whole reason it developed into a cartoon or started down that track was toy sales. So my number one is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon series. Yes.
What a show. What a show. This was going to be on mine, because it meant, like, even if my mum's listening, they'd be like, why didn't he mention the Turtles? Because I think like you and like me, so many kids were bet into the Turtles.
Man, they're just breathing new life into it with every generation. Like, it's one of those things that I don't think is ever going to die, because there's so many avenues they can go down with it. But I mean, this the original series spawned the live action movies, the originals, and they were classics, man. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
fantastic.
the original live action. Oh man.
Yeah.
So good. Those three movies, fantastic.
Man,
Fantastic movies.
Definitely the second one, Secret of the Ooze, was my favourite.
yes.
With Vanilla Ice, that was that soundtrack.
Ninja Rap, yeah, Ninja Rap. That's right.
Go
And you had
Ninja, go
Shredder.
Ninja,
Was
go.
he Super Shredder? What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah,
He got oozed up.
Yeah, that's at the very end, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. During Ninja Rap, when they're battling him.
Yeah, at the back.
Spoilers,
yeah,
everybody, spoilers. What? Yeah, it's not going to spoil it. Nothing can spoil those movies.
Mate.
Like, what a number one pick. And like you brought up with toys before as well. See, the whole idea about making, like you brought up as well with the comics. In the comics, it was very dark. And
yes, yeah.
very different turtles, and they all had the same
They all had the red
bandanas or whatever you're
bandana.
saying.
Yeah, so it wasn't until it went to trying to sell them as toys that they decided, right, we've got to mix these guys up and we've got to make them individuals, and that's where the different colours came into it, and it's pretty interesting how that era and it all came together from the comic books with two guys that wrote the comic books. To then
Favorite turtle.
favorite turtle.
Who's your
Leonardo.
favorite turtle? Yeah,
Leonardo.
yeah, the leader.
In the cartoon series, Leonardo. In the live action movies, Michelangelo.
Oh shit! You know what?
Yeah.
Like, I think I went through turtle stages a bit. Like I always felt like, oh, you know what? I'm supposed to like Leonardo. And then when I was really young, it would have been like Michelangelo and Donatello. Like because I love Donatello's gadgets. But when I started like watching the movies and stuff, I loved Raphael.
Yeah.
I loved Raphael, and he just became more, because he was so conflicted. You know what I mean? And he was angry, and he was a very deep character. But again, they all had their own things. They all had their own.
That was the cool thing about the live action movies, wasn't it? It brought a different aspect and almost took it darker again.
It was darker
because the
definitely.
cartoon series was quite comical, and that was one thing that nearly stopped it from progressing from the comic books, was the difference in it, and they looked at a lot of the producers and stuff at the time and went, well, we don't want to touch this because it's too childish, or not childish, but just a laughing stock. So but then on the other side, once it took off and the live action movies came out, it nearly killed it because of how dark it went. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was almost
Particularly the first one, right? That first one.
Yeah. With the concepts in that, plus So it's pretty interesting the transitions early on that it had, and the fear around it. But
three now.
That's
That's three we've had now that have spawned franchises, and like you said, intergenerational entertainment. Like,
absolutely.
there's a Turtles for everyone, like a Batman for everyone, and a Transformers for everyone.
Yeah, that's it.
What a great trip! What a great first three.
Yeah. So I suppose we move on to number twos. Who has Reese got as number two?
Reese's number two is an Australian classic. However, it was all over the world, at least from my perspective. Because I was over the other side of the world, and I knew this show, and it was a great show, and it is first aired in 1990. It is Round the Twist.
Oh, so you had Round the Twist over in Ireland?
Yes, we did.
Wow.
Have you ever thought?
Have you ever felt like this? Yeah, there you go. I didn't know. I thought that was like just a Australian show, like.
No, well, we would have shared a lot, I think, because through British television, which we got a lot of in Ireland.
Yep.
Yous would have got a lot of that, and I think we got that, and Johnson and Friends, and Wiggles,
Yeah, man. Yeah, okay, there you go.
4 seasons Round the Twist. It was a weird one because it had it started in 1990 and season 2 was in 1992, and then they didn't come back to do season 3 and 4 until 2000. So it must have, again, I'd say it caught on overseas, which would have been me liking, and they're like, okay, we got to produce more of this shit. This is a commodity.
Let's start to take off.
Fantastic show.
Man, that was a
fantastic
great
show.
show. I remember getting home of an afternoon and sitting down and watching that along with a heap of other shows. I'm not going to mention any of them because they could be in the list. I don't want to spoil
They could be
it.
down
They
the
could
list.
be there.
That's right.
But yeah, man, that's a cracker show.
Yep.
cracker show. Which actually reminds me, I showed you, I think, while we were editing last week's episode, but a band have just they're called Punk Rock Factory, and they've just released a new album.
That's right.
And that album has got like theme songs for TV shows. That's on there. They do a cover of it, and I think I showed you it, and it was
It was very good.
Great
Like
album.
if you're like us, everyone out there, and you love all those intros to all those nostalgic television shows when you were a kid, listen to that. Very good.
on
It's got them all.
Spotify. Awesome. They've done some cracker songs. So yeah, they've just released that new album. But moving on from that, number two. You're number two. I'm getting ahead of myself.
The number two, the shitty right now. This show for me, right? This is more of an interactive show with a host. Okay, so we've kind of had cartoons to start us off now, right? That led into big franchises, but this is a host of a show, an interactive show. This is Art Attack.
Yeah, Art Attack.
Yeah. So
I've-
that's an OG series, 19 series, man.
I did not see that coming.
1990, 2007, Neil Buchanan, you know, fella taught me how to be a man. I loved Art Attack. They had, if you remember the head, and he would always make something crap. He'd make something, he was like a stone bust, and he'd always produce something horrible, but yeah, I loved that Art Attack. It was,
Wow.
again, it would show you how to make stuff from rubbish in your bloody house.
How much shit did you used to get
good.
into? Blood dry follow.
Toilet paper, hats, all that. He would have these things where he would have an overhead view, all right, and he would just have like a fucking shake or a salt, and you'd be like, what's he gonna make? And he'd start, and by the end of it, he'd have this fucking amazing thing. It'd be like Venus de Milo or something like that, or whatever it's called. I'm not an artiste, I'm an Art Attack connoisseur. But now I love that. And Neil Buchanan, you should check it out. He's actually in a metal band. He left Art Attack and he's in a metal band.
Really?
I think they call it like Marsales or Marsalis or something like that.
Yeah,
But,
right. I'm gonna have to check that out.
from Art Attack to that, very good.
That's awesome. I'm a bit blown away by that. I did not see that coming.
I blow people away.
You do. With all the
Who's
picks on the list, that's to have that in your five, that's good.
yeah? Who's your
My
number two?
My number two is another one that was pushed or became a TV series simply for toy sales. So this first aired in 1988.
Yep.
It was 13 episodes with a 14th episode coming out on VHS. So it was really only the one season, you'd say. But my number two is a series called Dino Riders.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
it was I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was a story about basically the Valorians and the Rulons landing on Earth during the prehistoric time, riding dinosaurs and fighting each other. Man, it was cool. So
How is that not? Transformers kind of did it with the dinosaurs a little bit, didn't they? They kind of brought in the
Yeah.
mechanical dino. It's not the same, but at least you might got to look at what the aesthetic might be for the Dino Riders.
yeah, well, that's
What could
interesting
be?
as well because I think it was 2015. Yeah, 2015. They were talking, or there was discussions about them doing a live action movie or a series around Dino Riders, and it never happened. Unfortunately, hopefully it does eventually. But yeah, fantastic series or episodes. Even though it was only short, I loved it.
Great concept too.
Oh man, cool concept. Like if you can't sell dinosaurs with lasers on them to kids, what the fuck are you going to sell?
It was made for
That's-
us.
Oh man, loved it. So yeah, that was my number two.
But
And yeah.
like you said, like it doesn't have to. Like a lot of the stuff that might be on this list or that could be on this list, they didn't go. Some of them won't go on to be great franchises. Some of them are just little gems that are there that we remember.
Yeah, yep.
Like Art Attack. There's no Art Attack cinematic universe with Neil Buchanan trying to collect. all of the
You're giving
artistic
someone an idea now.
All right. Trademark.
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 You've got the
I don't know
license
if
for
you
it.
can trademark Art Attack. We'll have a look into that for us, Iders. Or if any of you are lawyers, maybe you can look into it for us.
Yeah. Right, moving on to number 3. What has Reese got for his number 3?
Now, he has 1989's, famous for being on the 7 Network, Agro's Cartoon Connection.
Oh,
9 seasons.
what a
Hosted
classic.
by Jamie Dunn. Now look, I didn't grow up with Agro, so I'll probably let you take a spin at it. I only know Agro from when I was up in Queensland on the radio. Jamie Dunn,
Yep.
who voiced Agro obviously years before. He had his own show where he would do the impression, and he would ring up kids and adults
Oh,
in the
really?
Agro voice and all. But what a show had that, like, obviously I didn't watch him hosting it, but some of the shows that were on Cartoon Connection were Samurai Pizza Cat, Sailor Moon,
Man.
G.I. Joe, Sonic the Hedgehog, Scooby-Doo, Mega Man. What
had
was
some-
Agro like for you, being such a controversial little fucker?
Well, so we didn't think of it like that at the time. We just saw him as like this angry little puppet, and funny. You know, we were. I suppose if I look back now, there'd be a lot of adult jokes on there, but we didn't see that. We just saw him as for what he was supposed to be for kids. Because I would have been young. What year did you say that aired? 1989.
1989.
So the year I was
it's-
born. So Agro was, I was still very young during that.
You grew up with him. He was 9 seasons, so that would have been your childhood. And you know
Yep.
what? He's uniquely Aussie. He's,
That's
you know
right,
what I mean.
yeah.
That's another thing. He's like a muppet you can look up to. He's one of your own. He sounds like his, but he's a larrikin. He's,
Yeah.
and
That's-
like you were saying, for the adults, the double entendres there, like you didn't notice when
Oh,
you were a
yeah.
kid, but it cracked your dad up.
Well, and that's the thing, mate. Like, I can't remember ever being told that I couldn't watch it because I had no idea about the jokes. But I remember those cartoons, Samurai Pizza Cats, man.
Wow.
They actually didn't actually come up on my radar. I've forgotten.
That
Yeah,
needs a
but I
live action
remember watching
reboot.
that, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember watching
those
that,
little
yeah.
gems. Those little
Yeah.
gems.
Man, and that draws everybody to that sort of show. That's awesome. There
And
you
I'll
go.
just give a little shout out because I know this won't be brought up for the rest of the show. But we had in Ireland, we had like an Agro. It was called the Den TV instead of Cartoon Connection, and it was hosted by a fella called Ray Darcy, and he had Zig and Zag, but he had this Irish Dubliner turkey on it called Dustin. And he was like our Agro. He was like, "Hey, how are you going? I'm fucking," like he didn't
Yeah,
swear
right.
then, but he was like our Agro, and he ended up having top selling songs, and he ended up being in Eurovision. Obviously lost
right.
Eurovision. He
Yeah.
entered Eurovision a puppet turkey for Ireland.
That's
The conspiracy theory is that Ireland couldn't afford to host the Eurovision, so they wanted to do whatever they could to not win. So they literally sent in a hand puppet. Everyone at home, look up Dustin the Turkey Eurovision, and that, I swear to fuck, is what Ireland put forward as
That is-
our Eurovision
that
contestant.
is so fucking Irish. That is.
Imagine putting Agro up in like world competition.
Man.
It would be
Well,
like that.
I think people are looking back now and seeing some of that footage from Agro. And
still
jumping up
funny.
and down a bit. It's still funny, and people they're not realizing that a lot of those jokes were, were a sign of the times. I suppose it's a way to say it. You're not. People
You
are
can
jumping
look
up and
back
down.
at it
about
and say, you know what, that's cringe. But but at the time, and a lot of
That was
those things
hilarious.
that are surfing as well as things that weren't in the actual show. So there are
It's just
outtakes and
outtakes.
bloopers and stuff like that. But I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know if anything happened with you know what I mean. Like I don't know any of the true controversies of it.
Oh,
but
look, I
whatever,
don't know if
it's
anything
just been
has happened from it. I just remember seeing an article there about people. I mean, I think
Looking
they were
back.
asking for it to be dragged, and it was already finished.
Is it
as a show.
syndicated? That's what I mean. Like, is it syndicated?
I don't know. I think it might have just been one or two people trying to cause outrage. I'm not sure. But anyway, moving on. Number 3.
Somebody aggro.
Number 3. What do you got?
Number 3 for Davy G. Let me have a look here. All right. So, this is one of those, when you wake up in the morning, and you don't think you're going to make the school bus type of thing. and this encapsulated that teenage, high school, 90s shit. But it started in 1989, and it is Saved by the Bell.
Oh man,
4 epic seasons,
Classic.
a Hawaiian special. Man, Zach, Kelly Slater, Jesse, Lisa Turtle, Screech. I actually like Kelly was one of my first, like, holy crap. Kelly and like
when you first started
Kimberly.
noticing.
Yeah. But big
Great
shout
show,
out to
great.
Mr. Belden. Yeah. Was it big over here, Saved by the
It
Bell?
wasn't massive. I do remember seeing it, and I enjoyed some. I don't think I ever saw the whole series. I think they only aired maybe a couple of seasons on here, and then didn't. I don't know whether it took off or not, but
Oh, it was syndicated in Ireland anyway. Like, we
Yeah.
watched it. Rest in peace, Dustin Diamond, Screech. But yeah, I wanted to be Zach, you know what I mean? And I hated Mr. Belden until you figured out when you look back, he had a heart of gold and he just wanted what was good for the kids. Zach could break the fourth wall. He was a rebel, you know. Loved it. Loved
Awesome.
it.
Number
That's my
3
number
from Dave.
3.
Nice.
What about you? Number 3.
My
Be
number
me.
3. Mine was, so this is let's say a group of cartoons. It was a show, actually. The one I'm referencing was one show in particular. The cartoons themselves have been around since the 1930s. This was a show that used to be on a Sunday afternoon. I think it was about 4 o'clock. And the show is the Looney Tunes show.
Mega
Yeah.
classic. OGs. OGs.
So this was just I think it went for about half hour, 45 minutes, something like that, and it was just, small Looney Tunes episodes, and had all of them on there at some stage. But yeah, I can remember numerous times, man, sitting down on a Sunday afternoon, Looney Tunes show was on. Love that, man. I love Looney Tunes. They're another
Mega franchise.
French, and man, they've stood the test of time. Like I said, 1930s was when they first. So
They would have been on
World
the
War II.
movies. Yeah, they would have been on the movies. Our grandparents, great grandparents.
Yeah.
If they went to the movies, it would have been that type of thing. Snow
And look at
White.
them now.
Yeah.
Space Jam 2. So they're still,
Wow. They're still making box office. That's right.
That's it, man. Like, yeah,
But
everybody
those
loves them.
old cartoons, man. We still watch those very same ones, like Elmer Fudd trying to catch fucking Bugs Bunny. We're watching
Yeah.
the same things. It still holds up.
Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, man. Like,
What a sad. Look, he was just trying to feed his family, that poor bastard, wasn't he? He'd go home again. He's like, oh, I didn't. No food today, kids.
you're the
Dad, you
first
failed
person.
us.
You're the first person that I.
He's hungry.
See
He's
it
a
from that
hungry-
aspect.
Yeah.
Look at it and go, oh, he's just trying to feed his family.
There's a food chain. That bird should be fucking bred. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Wiley. He doesn't get the fucking love he deserves. Man out there trying to feed his family. Obviously has an addiction and doesn't understand how bad Acme products are. He'll get there.
That might be all he's got access to, man. Might be all he's got
That's
access
true. He might be coerced into having to use that type of. Again, though, we can't. He's using unnatural ways to catch his prey, So maybe he needs to go back to the way coyotes used to do it and use just his mouth. Just go for it. But here, we're not here to teach him. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't know what coyotes do really.
Oh,
I knew he was
awesome. I've
hungry.
never
He was
ever
a
heard
skinny one.
anybody look at it from that aspect. So,
But who was your favourite Looney Tune? Who was your
Oh.
favourite Looney Tune?
I'd have to say probably Daffy Duck.
Yeah,
All-time
underrated.
But I also loved Foghorn Leghorn and Speedy Gonzales.
I said I saw.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What a legend.
So who was yours?
So many.
Who was yours?
Man, I hate to be so generic or whatever, but I love Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny to me was
Yeah,
cool.
he
was cool.
he's an
I like
icon, man.
Tasmania. What's that fucking show?
Tasmania.
Oh, the TV show, Tasmania. That was a fucking wicked TV show. I hope it's not your number 4 or 5, but I love that. But
Yeah.
I guess you can wrap them in with Looney Tunes too. And he's uniquely Australian Looney Tune. That's pretty cool. He's
Yeah.
had a Looney Tune.
I can't remember actually. He was in the the golden years I think they had for the Looney Tunes was 1950s to 1960s, and yeah, he was a character then. So yeah, thought
Obviously,
about it pretty early.
extreme disinformation about the way a Tasmanian devil will move. Like, do not create hurricanes. You know, do not have giant
Hang
heads
on.
with just arms
We
sticking
were
out.
just talking about coyotes using bombs and shit. So
That's
Yeah.
right. So you've got man-made disasters from Wile E. Coyote, and then you have natural disasters being created from Tasmanian devils. It's very deep, Looney Tunes. And here, Looney Tunes, tunes is spelt Tunes, isn't it, like a song? So was that anything to do with it coming from originally being like a sound, like radio-based thing or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
Very interesting.
No idea.
We're very
All right.
unprepared here.
Yes, it wasn't a. We thought we did some research, but
Nah, everyone knows Looney Tunes. It's
Nah,
a great,
man, if you
great
don't-
OGs.
if you don't come out of
OGs.
the box, yeah. All right, number 4. Who's Reese
Number
got?
4 for Reese, yeah. So Reese's number 4 is very similar to his number 3 in a way. It is a hosted TV shows. It was in 1995 with 11 seasons. It was Cheese TV.
Ah,
Uniquely
man.
Australian. Yeah.
Cheese TV, man. What
Yeah.
a cracker.
Obviously, I wasn't there for Cheese TV, so I'll let Vino take it over. All I have was that it was hosted by a Ryan Lappin and a Jade Gatt, and it was
Man.
it was weekday mornings from Channel 10.
It was home to some of the best shows like of our era, our generation. I loved it. You were talking about before, nearly missing the school bus and stuff like that. That it's because of Cheese TV.
Yeah.
I pushed the limit some plenty of times. I won't tell you the show because my number 4 comes from Cheese TV. It was played on Cheese TV in Australia, but man, fantastic. It had the likes of Pokemon on there, Beyblades was on there, some awesome shows. Yeah. They
But
tried
was
to
it
bring it back
active?
recently.
Like, did people send stuff into it?
Yeah,
the
so
hosts
they'd have
and,
in between cartoons and stuff like that. They'd have responding to fan mail, opening it up. They'd do prizes and all those sorts of things. Man, it was an unreal show. I remember wanting to send some stuff in, and just never got around to it. I just kept forgetting about it as a kid. But yeah, mate, there was. For our generation growing up, if you didn't know what Cheese TV was, then you didn't have a TV. It's that simple.
when I was
mornings,
when I was planning this and I was asking my wife, who was your favourite? Cheese TV came up. Obviously she grew up in Australia,
Oh, yeah.
and she loved Cheese TV. That was
Yeah,
I think that was her
It
shit.
had
Like,
a bit of, it had Sailor Moon and all that on there.
yeah.
So, yeah, it had a bit of something for everybody. So, no, it was a great show. So, like I said, we'll reel back onto that one with my number 4 when we get to it. But
Yeah, there'll be another shout out for Cheese TV coming up very shortly.
absolutely, keep your ears peeled. Dave, number 4. Who you got?
My number 4, right? He's an OG himself. He is a bad motherfucker. Alright? Motherfucker raised me. It is 1988. That's when Davey was born too. He's a little bit of an older model. But when Dave was born, greatness was also born in a television show called The New Adventures of Winnie the Motherfucking Pooh. Oh man, this Winnie the Pooh motherfucker.
Man,
I loved Winnie the Pooh. Loved it. It was
Was it
4
big?
seasons. Yeah.
was it big over there in Ireland?
Oh man, Winnie the Pooh is just known everywhere. You've
Yeah.
seen banned in China now. The picture of protests because Xi Jinping is said by the locals to look a bit like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. I do recall
Because
hearing
China
that.
is an authoritarian state, they're like, nah, well, we'll get rid of Winnie the Pooh. So
Yeah.
but we won't get into that. But yeah, look, originally, like obviously he had been around for a while. He was originally from a book written by A.A. Milne, but Walt Disney bought the rights to it because he heard his kids laughing at a book, and he went, "What the fuck's this shit?" And he's like, "All right, cool." And he was very involved in introducing the character in a short film, and it was said to be the last movie that Walt was really part of. And look,
Yeah,
it's the third best-selling franchise in the world. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh's not fucking around. He's a boss. He's the Jay-Z of this shit. You know. He's not a businessman. He's a businessman. And
first time I saw Winnie the Pooh, man, was in a book. Or like when I say saw, but yeah, first interaction I had was in a book, and then when I saw it on TV, I thought that was awesome. Like first time I'd seen, I think, a character from a book, and then go on to, into a cartoon, not knowing that it had been around already for a while. But yeah.
Well, Walt Disney wanted it specifically to still have its own Disney originality, but he wanted to keep intact with the original art of the book too, because it was so well known. It was so well known at the time.
He just wanted to cash in without doing the work.
Well, he didn't want the backlash, because there was a lot of, what would you call them, pooophiles, maybe. But so, look, everybody, this is Fireside Yarns. We're very everyone's had a couple of drinks here, so some things will be said. Well, Winnie foils, Winnie fans, Stans, Winnie. Look, Winnie the Pooh fans.
A Pooh stand. Standing Pooh.
Yeah, but we'll move it on. These are the motherfuckers. They're hanging around the 100-acre wood. This introduced Tigger. Who didn't love Tigger growing up? Kangaroo, rabbit, piglet.
Who was your favourite character? Who was your favourite?
It was Tigger. I loved Tigger.
I think he was a favourite for so many people, man. Just that energetic. So one thing I saw, when I say recently, in the last 12 months or so, was all of those characters were based around a mental illness. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. ER was depressed. I've read it, I think, was it? Doesn't Rabbit have like OCD, and I think Pooh is supposed to be mentally challenged. I'll look here.
And Tigger's ADHD and that's, well, I wouldn't say mental illnesses, but based around
that's like a cartoon conspiracy, isn't it? Like that's what, I'm not sure if that was confirmed, was it?
Yeah, but it was. I'm not sure. I just remember reading and going, "Oh shit!" The more you think about it, it does make sense. So, I mean, it could have been an influence into those characters, but it's cool because if that is the reason, it's introducing or making those sorts of things normal for kids at an early age, but.
Yeah, well, there's lots of little cartoon conspiracies like that. I don't want to say it in case he's next. I know he's not in Reese's. Did you pick SpongeBob?
Oh, no.
Alright, well, SpongeBob, alright, that's kind of got some funny stuff behind it. The fact that he's might be yellow cake, or like from the nuclear testing that was happening in Bikini Atoll. It was an island that America used to test their nuclear weapons on. Yep. So, and it was Bikini Bottom there underneath. So are they the fucking the result of nuclear experimentation? Like there's so many. We could even do a show. Yeah, there's like the dark truth behind cartoons, like something like that.
That'd be cool. But speaking of Cheese TV, that was another show that was on it actually that I forgot about.
Yeah, SpongeBob. They rocked Winnie. Fucking Cheese TV.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't remember exactly what network had Winnie the Pooh on it, but there you go.
Winnie the Pooh's Disney. So it's possible that they did.
I'm talking early on when we had like 5 stations. So
that's what I was going to say. They must have leased them out, because I didn't have Disney growing up, and I fucking had Winnie the Pooh. So
yeah. Well, back I think growing up, we had I think a total of five channels to choose from.
That's the way it was. You had to battle for it, right?
Yep. All right. My number 4, and I'll bring it back to Cheese TV. So this was a series. This aired in Japan, surprisingly, in 1989.
Oh shit.
Yeah, till January 1996, and it didn't start airing over here, or it wasn't translated and didn't air over here until the late 90s, early 2000s. So this one is, it was a favourite throughout our generation. This is the one show that used to cause me to nearly miss the bus every morning that it was on. Dragon Ball Z.
Oh shit!
Massive,
iconic show.
Absolutely massive, man. I had I had the Tarzos, watched it every morning. Loved it, man. And in our friends group as well, it was a big thing. you know, big show and still is. For our generation, I don't think you can mention that without people sort of going, oh yeah, I love that, or know about it at all, you know, at least.
Well, look, I never watched Dragon Ball Z, but I know about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like, grown-ass adults, neckbeard dudes still worship Dragon Ball Z.
Dude.
Like, yeah, it is everywhere
it's
in
awesome.
pop culture still.
Absolutely. Games, like I said, Tarzos. So I found all my old Tarzos, old Dragon Ball Z Tarzos, but there was a few series of those, collectibles and all that. So did you guys have Tarzos over in? You probably wouldn't.
You might have called them something else. What is a Tarzo?
It's just a little plastic chip that came in your packet of
A
chips.
pog.
Probably that's what you call them. Yeah.
It's like a disc, all right, and you can have choose them. And there's these things called slammers, which are a thick disc that you use to actually play pogs with.
I think at some stage, you can play. I never play with Tarzos.
We called them pogs in Ireland,
Right,
and they
okay.
were huge. And we had slammers, and there were slug slammers, and you would play for keeps with people. Do you want to play pogs, or you want to play for keeps? And you'd have all your discs and all the TV shows, all the you know what I mean, all the big
That's
shit would sell pogs, and it's Tarzos. Now that I know that,
There you go. Yeah, but there
Dragon
was
Ball Z epic show.
No, they were a big thing, but Dragon Ball Z. This is my number 4. Huge show, and like I said, a big influence in early high school years and stuff like that. But yeah,
We had Pokemon, I guess would have been my equivalent to it, but you had that too, right?
we had
like
Pokemon
that was big
as well.
here.
Yeah, man. Yep. So that Pokemon sort of took up when I was in primary school.
Yep.
And then it, once it hit the like Game Boys and all those sorts of things, man, and Pokemon cards and all the collectibles, and it was
Well, I did the
huge.
cards. I didn't. I got into the first game, and then but here my wife still plays Pokemon. Everyone still plays Pokemon. A new Pokemon game comes out, it's fucking sold. You know.
Yeah, man, it's a
still
very,
huge.
very successful franchise.
Man.
For many generations, you know, you get people our age now going back and still playing it. Because it's endless, isn't it? Like it's timeless. So.
It's a good concept. It's fun again.
It's it'll never get old, I don't think.
Huge universe in itself, so it's deep.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 5. Who's Reese?
All right. Reese's number 5 is 1990s Captain Planet. What a great choice, Reese. I love Captain Planet.
He's
5 seasons.
What a
Gonna
great
take
show.
pollution down to 0. We're the Planeteers. Do you know
You
all
can
the
be one
Planeteers?
too.
Can you remember what their
Earth,
powers
fire,
are?
wind, water, heart.
Go Planet. That's it.
Go Planet.
That is it.
That's it. Man.
There were
There you
5
go.
magic rings, right?
Yeah.
Is Captain Planet a Lord of the Rings? Is he like Sauron? Is he Sauron?
Well, he could be, because Sauron never takes his helmet off. Under that could be that bright green
Imagine it was fucking Captain motherfucking Planet.
standing there, and he's got
Oh
his
my
Planeteers.
god.
Hang on, how many rings were there?
5. Nah, but who got 5 rings? Because it was a 7 for men, ring rates. Or was it 7 for elves, 5 for men,
How many
4 for the
dwarves
dwarves or
get?
something? I don't know, probably a little less. We'll have to look into that. They're actually, we will investigate
that's a
if Captain
conspiracy,
Planet.
isn't it? We need to chase
It
it up.
should be. Yeah. Makes
Captain
sense.
Planet is the rebirth of Sauron. There you go.
Yeah, and also, funnily enough, Sauron, Sean, growing up, we have a friend called Sean who was a very creepy individual, and Sean,
We love
Sean,
you. We love
man, we love Sean. Sean's a fucking legend. But Sean was a good-looking kid in school, and he had that head of a Captain Planet. You know what I mean? Like the fucking cheekbones and the jaw. And I swear that I would have fucking, if I had 4 mates and we came together, I would have loved Sean to be Captain Planet. I used to do little photoshops of him, and he might still have them. I used to email them to him.
He probably does.
I would make Captain Planet to prove it looked like Sean. I would change him to skin coloured instead of green and give him brown hair. And fuck me dead, mate. It is Sean. But yeah.
Oh, there you go, Sean. There's a
There,
special
little
shout out
inside.
on, on Fireside Yarns. You'll have to come on so that people can have a look and see whether you are actually Captain Planet.
He's an OG Firesider, for sure.
He is. He loves it. And we love him.
That was Reese's fifth one, and his fifth and last one. Great addition.
Good pick. Another one that, yeah.
Fan choice, yeah. No live action Captain Planet, I don't think. I think I've seen a skit done somewhere.
Everybody knows the song, and everybody knows who it is. You know, that could take off like that, but it just needs the right push behind it, I suppose.
And ahead of its time.
What better time to do it now? Yeah, like climate change, that talk.
That's right. Imagine the story now. The world is full of pollution. The guy, the earth needed to summon a hero of all the elements, including heart, you know. But and he is El Capitane Sauron.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Dave, you're number 5. What are we up to? What do you got for us?
So my number 5 is 1993's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I knew
3
it had
seasons.
to be in here somewhere.
I fucking love Power Rangers. I had them on my walls as kids. My dad painted them on the wall, all of them.
Did you ever use the costume as well?
I did have. I can't remember. I think I had the Blue Ranger. I was into the Blue Ranger for a bit, and then I just became obsessed with Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, the evil Green Ranger who turned good.
Man, what a series! And that originally started, or like all the action footage originally was stolen from a Japanese show, correct?
Well, yeah. So I think they bought the rights from Super Sentai to, and I think from another one as well when they got the White Ranger footage. But and a couple of the Megazords and stuff they got from Super Sentai in Japan from a couple of years before, and you could see that because they would splice together American scenes and the Japanese ones, and you could always tell Tommy Oliver's shield was it looked real like cushiony in the American version. Then in the Super Sentai version it was just so crisp. Yeah, obviously big shout out to Zach, Trini, Jason, Kimberly, Billy, but Tommy, yeah, definitely my favourite. I love that the Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, Goldar, and the Putties. They were kind of like the foot soldiers for Rita. And yeah, I loved it. And what I love about it now is I still, because it's so huge and it spawned so many seasons and a movie with Ivan Ooze, which was wicked. But I get on the Facebook groups now and I fucking tear them up because they're serious. That the Power Rangers fans are real tight arses. So you go in there, you roil them up, say Rocky was the best Red Ranger, Tommy was shit. Lots of stuff. But yeah, I loved them. What did you think of Power Rangers? Did you have a favourite one? Was it big here?
I loved it, man. I loved it. Yeah, it was a pretty big phenomenon. I remember going and watching the stage show and being blown away by that. But one of the things I loved about Power Rangers as well with that franchise was the game on Sega.
Yeah, great game.
That was fantastic. Awesome, man. And yeah, it was really... I only ever got into the first... the phase 1 of them, I suppose you'd call it. The originals. But I did see recently there's a documentary on Netflix and it talks about the toys. The series is called Toys That Made Us. And it goes into some of the backstory around Power Rangers and how they came to be and how they blew up. So that's pretty cool. If you ever get the chance, jump on and have a look at that. But that was something different, weren't they? Like they just blew us away.
It was so good. And again, that marketing strategy of the different colours. Everyone has their favourite Ranger, the same as they have their favourite turtle.
Mm-hmm.
Just it had action. It had something for everyone. You had the nerdy kid like Donatello, Billy. You had Zach, who was like a hip hop dancer, and he was a badass. Kimberly, who was the lads love Kimberly. You have Trina, rest in peace. She died in 2000, I think, in a
she did
in a
too,
car
didn't
crash.
she? Yeah.
Well, Trini, Zach, and Jason ended up getting kicked off Power Rangers, and they got replaced because they're having contractual issues. So you remember Rocky.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So they changed the Yellow Ranger, the Red Ranger, and the Black Ranger, and that's why in the movies they're different as well.
Because that was shot in New Zealand too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
That's
movie,
cool.
Ivan Ooze, fantastic movie. There was skydiving in the intro. They changed their powers from dinosaurs to like ancient animals, and very good, very good.
Yeah. Awesome. It's an awesome concept too, and the way they did it was very clever. So no, that was a good number 5, man.
And Into the Generations, and a new movie came out recently, which wasn't great, but whatever. It's not for us, is it?
No.
This new stuff.
No, it's trying to draw those younger generations back in. So good luck to them. But
What is
my
your
number
number 5?
So my number 5 is it's become a bit of a cult classic. Used to be on ABC here in Australia of an afternoon. It was a bit of a filler show. Originally shown in the United Kingdom in 1986. We saw it here around the 90s from and early 2000s. This one's called The Trapdoor.
Classic.
Awesome, man. Burke, feed me. That sort of shit, man.
But just the way the animation was in it as well, it was fantastic. It was a stop motion kind of Play-Doh style, like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Touched a bit of It was just a great show.
Great
even
intro.
though it was only 5 minutes. Yeah, great song. And definitely one of my favourites. Whenever I think of ABC kids of an afternoon, after finished school, you can't sort of talk about that without having The Trapdoor on there. And there was a heap of shows on, and I'm probably going to steal a few, maybe of your honourable mentions here, but ABC had some of the best ones, like Hey Arnold, Arthur, Cat Dog. I think Cow and Chicken were on there at some stage.
Cow and Chicken.
How good. You mentioned it before. It was Johnson
and Friends. That was huge for me. I only found that was Australian when I was doing research for this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That was an Aussie show. Baba, man, I love Baba. and the rhinos and the elephant. Man, Baba was wicked. It was real cool.
Yeah, man.
The Royals.
There was some awesome shows just on ABC, and it came down to the fact that we didn't have Netflix or anything like that like we do now. This is showing our age, and we were limited channels. So, what other ones did you have? A couple of others that I had as bonuses was like Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars, yeah.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy, they were good.
Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, animated. They started off themselves as like an Animaniacs kind of skit, but they ended up getting their own show then.
That's
and now
right,
they're back. Now they're back.
They are back. Yeah. They're back on Netflix at the moment. They've done a remake. Did you watch
the
that?
Animaniacs. I've only watched the intro of the first episode for Animaniacs.
How good is that?
Yeah, man. It's like a promo for itself.
Yeah,
no, I love it.
No, it's fantastic.
Try and get the little one in.
Yeah, get them involved.
So, some of my runners up: Keenan and Kel, Goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps books.
We were talking. You haven't seen the 2 new movies.
I haven't seen. I haven't watched it. But is there 2 new movies?
Yeah.
So I knew they had the one where Jack Black's R.L. Stein.
Yes.
Did they do another one again?
Yeah, it's a follow-up.
All right.
I don't think it's quite as good.
Well, it must have been made for TV then, is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think because the other one had a release.
It's got R.L. Jack Black plays R.L. Stein again, but different characters and all that sort of stuff. It's a follow-up. The first one that they made, or the remake with Jack Black, I thought that was fantastic. So get on. Yeah, it's got pretty much all the characters from Goosebumps in it.
Did you? And we had, what was that? Earthworm Jim. Did we name him?
No, we didn't name
He's
him.
such a groovy guy. Yeah. How good was Earthworm Jim? Yeah. And the Tick.
Actually,
yeah.
I'm trying to think whether he was on Agro's Cartoon Connection or Cheese TV. I think it was Cheese TV.
Nah, he was good. It's so original and weird. Yeah. And then we had this Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is coming back. That was a reboot, but now it's coming back with the original characters, Melissa Joan Hart and the 2 aunties. They're all going to come back. And I had Biker Mice from Mars, Mr. Bean. Fucking,
man.
yeah, Mr. Beans.
Mr. Bean. So isn't that interesting? Like, because when a lot of people when they see Rowan Atkinson, they associate him with Mr. Bean. He was such a big character there, wasn't he? Like for many years. But when he played Blackadder, the contrast between those two characters is.
Well, yeah, Blackadder's like a forked tongue, witty arsehole, and Mr. Bean is just this kind of like
idiot.
This child, it's Britain's Forrest Gump, but he's with a little bit. He's a little bit of a little jealous streak in Mr. Bean and a one-upmanship in him. He's very childlike, but the great thing about Mr. Bean is that you don't have to be able to speak English to watch Mr. Bean. It's situational, slapstick, and deaf people can watch Mr. Bean. Like everyone can watch Mr. Bean. He's and again, he's for adults, but much like Wu-Tang, Mr. Bean is for the children. Mr. Bean is for the children. Like I loved him, and that's the old dirty bastard used to say Wu-Tang's for the children. But he was for everybody, man.
Yeah. I've never really associated Wu-Tang with Mr. Bean until I've heard.
Now you know, but it's for the children.
You heard it here first on Fireside Yarns.
It won't be last. But yeah, Street Shacks. Yeah. I had Tiny Toons, which were like it was Looney Tunes, but they're all like small, like they were different characters. They were like the next generation. I think some of them might have been kids of the Looney Tunes and all. They were great, similar to like Muppet Babies. Do you remember Muppet Babies? Fucking love that. Yeah. Well, now they have kind of like that 3D animation, don't they?
Yeah. My little bloke watches Muppet Babies, man. He thinks it's great.
Yeah, mine too. Very good. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Another epic one.
Growing up, if you didn't watch that, or our generation.
Yeah, man.
And that last episode too was just so.
Yeah, man. There's a couple of heartfelt ones in there. Remember when Will's dad left again? Yeah. And he's like, "Why don't he love me?" You know what I mean?
That was huge.
And then Uncle Phil comes in and is like, "Come here."
So I heard or read something recently saying that was, not scripted.
Well, I don't think the hug was supposed to happen or the cry.
Yep.
But apparently what happened when he hugged him, he whispered in his ear and said, "Now that's acting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
because
he
the same thing recently. Funnily enough, he was the voice of Shredder. Uncle Phil was the voice of Shredder in the Mutant Turtles animated series.
No way.
Turtles. That's him. That is him. That's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You're kidding me.
No, man.
I'm not going to be able to watch that the same.
It's gonna, you're gonna love Shredder. You're like, it's Uncle Shredder.
Uncle Shredder.
Yeah. And then awesome. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I loved that growing up. Great intro. Chip and Dale. So good.
Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Ren, Stimpy, Angry Beavers, Cat Dog. Rocco's Real Monsters.
Yeah.
I fucking love those. Yeah, that's what I was doing the thing,
what was the other one? I was going to mention it before when we were talking about Trapdoor. Was like another Play-Doh animation.
We had Morph in I don't know, it was a British show. It was like a Play-Doh animation one. Mr. Bump. What was Mr. Bump on?
Bump in the Night, isn't it?
Was it its own show, Bump in the Night?
I think so.
It was Mr. Bump and he goes Bump in the Night.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, that was a show.
That was a bit of fun.
Bump in the Night. Yeah, that was a cool show.
Do you have Rainbow over here with Zippy, with his big Zippy mouth?
Oh, maybe I can't remember.
That was a big one.
Man, there were some amazing shows.
Yeah, man. The Real Ghostbusters cartoon, Gargoyles, Inspector Motherfucking Gadget.
Man, Gargoyles, I remember that.
That was badass.
Yeah,
that was
but I can remember. Did they make a movie for that?
I don't know. I had cartoons for it. They might have had like a made-for-TV movie or something, but I remember I had cartoons. I had figures. I had Gargoyles figures growing up. So I was obsessed with them because they came out just after the animated series, Batman, the animated series, and they had a similar tone. It was dark, I love Gargoyles.
Because I remember Pizza Hut when you used to go and dine in, and you had the cups, the glass cups before Macca's was doing it.
Glass cups. They were the shit, weren't they?
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Looney Tunes actually was you know, you'd go in there and you'd get Looney Tunes cups. We had heaps of those, but I remember
Nutella
Gargoyles
jars.
being in there.
Hold on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's as soon as you mentioned Gargoyles, it just took me back to Pizza Hut, all you can eat, and
Pizza Hut, all you can eat. Here, Noddy, Brum, Fireman Sam, Postman Pat.
Yeah, see, they've just redone Fireman Sam.
Did they?
Yeah, so he's no longer, and Thomas the Tank Engine. So he's no longer like a model with Ringo Starr as the narrator. It's no
So
longer
they got
that
a different
style.
fella besides Ringo, did they?
Well, it's not models anymore; it's cartoons. Yeah, and there's a different.
Okay.
fella.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
cool.
actually animated now. So
Probably
yeah.
cheaper, isn't it, to have all
Yeah.
that stop motion shit?
yeah, that was
On
the
the
cool
islands
thing
of
about
Soldier, the Fats Controller. Man, I used to love that shit.
fat con-
He
the fat
made more
con-
money.
the fat con-
Apparently, he made more money in that than the Beatles.
That doesn't surprise me, man.
Nah.
Thomas-
But again,
Thomas
I'm not
was
sure.
huge.
I'm not sure if he got all the Beatles' money. El Ringo. Here we got more.
Go
Flag
for
of
it.
Rock, Clangers, Bagpuss, Count Duckula, fucking Darkwing Duck.
Oh man,
Man, there's just too much. We can just keep going. There was DuckTales.
man, Ducktales. I can still remember that
Tailspin.
theme song.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Ducktales. Whoa. No.
Go on, give us a little bit more there. Give us a little bit
Oh,
more.
mate, I stopped myself.
Yeah.
Because I was worried when we were writing the list that I was just going to get too many and too in
Well, I
depth.
did. I just kept writing and I was like, you know what, this is fuck. I did 30. I literally have 30 there.
Yeah, so I stopped at 15. So
That's all we needed to make sure we weren't overdoing each other.
that's it.
Unless we all did the same
So
five.
I
That's what
wasn't going
happened.
for extra marks. I wasn't going for extra marks.
Well, I felt bad leaving them all out because I was like, are we going to have an episode and someone's going to be like, why didn't you do Inspector Gadget? Why didn't you do fucking Earthworm Jim? I was like, well, we
But
said
this
it.
is-
We fucking tried, you know.
This
Throw
is
them in the
why
comments.
We want people in the comments. Absolutely. Get in there and tell us what your favourite show was. If we missed any that you think were should have been in the 5, let us know. There's been heaps, and you'll probably find that a lot of us had the same upbringing to a degree with the shows that we watched and what we thought were favourites. So been a bit of a different episode with Reese out, and he's only been in for one, and he's already dropped out, and we can take the piss out of him for it. But no,
Now, I'm
hopefully
going to
he
be a
gets
boss
better.
too with the technical difficulties, so
Only
from
for,
episode 5.
only for a short period. There's just a bit of a delay there with our latency, but you're coming good, man. So
Am I back now?
yeah, you've been back for a while.
Holy shit.
Been back for a while.
You never fucking know, everybody.
So be patient with us. We're still trying to work out this new platform and getting on top of that. So season 1's been a very not trying time, but it's been a lot of changes and testing, isn't it? It's
We're going to evolve. That's what it's all about. Season 1 is the practice mode. We're here, and
finding
again,
our feet.
that's why we need feedback as well from people. Because if you're like, this is shit, then we probably won't keep doing it. Or if we want to do it, we keep doing it, and then maybe you're shit. Maybe it's you who's shit. But it's not. We love you. Get by the fire. Get
Come
by the
around.
fire.
Don't forget, jump in, like and subscribe.
Yep.
Find us on Instagram, Discord, especially YouTube.
Yeah.
We are talking at the moment and going through the process of getting on board with or distributing to Spotify so that we'll just have the audio. We understand some people don't or prefer just to listen to podcasts and whatnot, but we'll get there for you. Just be patient. We'll get there for you. Next week's going to be a pretty big one, so don't forget to hit that notifications button. We're going to touch on a pretty big subject that affects all of us next week, so definitely tune in. We'll keep you, put the promotions up there so you know that it's coming up. But anything else, Dave? Anything you've?
No, I think that's
Anything we
it.
missed?
Look, I'll be looking forward to next week. We'll get Reese back. We'll be back to being a trio. With a little surprise there from next week, but yeah, missing Reese would be good to have him there for that extra banter. I know he probably would have liked to enforce his 5 choices a little bit more and share his person his personal experiences with it. But I hope we did him some justice there. And
Well, his age would show through, I think, and that would, that could have been a benefit through.
that's right. He popped his hip out. So we should do a GoFundMe for the Zimmer frame.
He's got.
He's like the same age as me. Is he 8? What is he? 88? 89?
No,
87?
he's earlier. 87, I think.
Yeah, I'm 88. He's 87. You're 80. You're the baby. Vino's the baby out of us.
I just don't look like it. I look flogged out. That's.
I'm the foreigner middle child. But yeah, look,
right.
Firesiders, thank you very much for being with us. It's been a rocky road this episode. Vino, do you want to call the toast?
Yeah, guys, thanks again for tuning in and watching it. Here's cheers to next week.